All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, once again with another episode of the Gafford and Brown Show. I'm Lamar Gafford,
And I'm Robert Brown.
and we're going to keep this show very much short and sweet today. We're just going to talk about a few topics right now. But to start things off, let's go ahead to talk about the NBA that happened last night. We saw the Lakers visited the Magic last night, but it was pretty much special for Dwight Howard as he got a chance to go back to Orlando. Did you get a chance to see the interaction in that one, Rob?
No, unfortunately, I had work. I didn't get to see much of it, but, with Twitter being, new lifeline to sports and everything else, I was able to keep up with some of the action. And a big game for Dwight Howard. One of the best games of this season he had in Orlando. This is a guy who, I'm not going to say he plays necessarily well under pressure, but, when certain things come up, whether he's challenged by Kobe or, another, the media gets to question his intentions about, what is he going to do in the whole season or, even the Orlando game last night, for example. He comes up big, he pulled these good games out of his pocket, and it's impressive that he's still able to put up big numbers like that and still perform. And it's also a good sign that I don't know necessarily if he's getting healthy, but he's got a fire under him as of late. And if the Lakers are able to, feed him the ball and get him in a position to, do things that he did last night, then hey, maybe that 8 seed, be a thing in the past in a couple of weeks, maybe they're pushing towards the 6 seed. So, things are looking pretty good for LA right now. And Dwight Howard, although he is kind of, a weird guy who says a lot of things and does a lot of things that you kind of, wish he would take back or don't say at all, he's showing you right now that he's worth the headache. What do you think about his performance last night, Lamar?
Oh, it was a great performance. He had 39 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 blocks in his return. And, to me, it looked like he got a little bit more cheers than I would have thought about, too, because he did get some boos, but he did get some cheers, too. But the focus was, in that game, looking at it, it was mostly Dwight. If you can see right here, looking at the box score, Kobe actually played a little bit more of a facilitator role with only 11 points and 8 assists and 7 rebounds. Clearly the focus in that game was to really feed Dwight, get him going and doing a whole lot of stuff. And it really worked out because the Orlando Magic let him shoot 39 free throws in the game, which he tied his own record from last year. So he's getting better and looks like he's getting even more healthier. And this is what really the Lakers need to do in order to try to make that playoff push.
Right. Now, I also want to bring up something Stan Van Gundy, a man who's no stranger to, controversy and saying things that people, question. He said that Dwight Howard's number should be retired in Orlando. You agree with that, Lamar?
I honestly agree because when it comes down to it, pretty much at the end of the day, he's pretty much one of the best players that put on a Magic uniform. I mean, when you think of the Magic, you think of Shaq, you think of Dwight, you think of Penny, you think of you probably think a little bit about Tracy McGrady too. So, I have no issue about that. It's going to take a while for them to do that because they already seemed like they already given away number 12 to somebody else just this season. But in time, I guess the hard feelings are going to come aside here, and they're going to retire his number, really. I mean, they have to. What do you think?
It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up, actually. I think that he is one of the biggest stars Orlando has made. This is a franchise that's still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Shaq was like the first superstar. Then Penny Hardaway, and then down the years there was a little drought. And Tracy McGrady came and pretty much made that franchise his. And he left, Then they drafted Dwight Howard. So, I would say Dwight. And you know what? I think Dwight was one of the, I know Tracy McGrady was a great player there, but I think Dwight really just, he really was an error there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tracy McGrady had his error, we all know about it, but he never really did much there. He never got past the first round.
Right.
Got to the playoffs a couple times. They had one of the worst teams in franchise history doing his watch. But with Dwight Howard, he's a guy that gave a lot of fans hope. He was able to really grow up. I remember Dwight Howard's first season, compared to the way he looks now, is nothing like that. He was thinner, he still, more explosive, but now, you look at the size of his shoulders and advise him, this is a grown man. We watched him grow up.
Yes.
And when he took that team to the finals, that was a really big moment for Orlando, because a lot of people didn't know this franchise was going to, recover from losing a superstar like Tracy McGrady, just because, it's not just a hotbed for, NBA free agents. So, I think eventually, like you said, with time, this number will be retired, maybe, eventually, but you never know with these GMs and executives and owners, nowadays, because, a lot of people are still bitter about that Dwight Howard thing, his fickleness, so we'll see.
And exactly. I mean, because I looked at it, I think I was looking at a little bit of the game from the Lakers feed, and they asked, I think they asked some of the Lakers fans, who do you think was the face of the Orlando Magic franchise? And they gave the White, Shaq, Penny, and I think Nick Anderson they had on there too, because he had a lot of records with the Magic. And it was pretty much 50% of the polls said the White, and I think 35% of them said Shaq. So, it got, once again, all feelings are going to pretty much go aside. I mean, if they forgave Shaq, they used to be mad at Shaq for leaving them pretty much in the prime of his career to go to L.A. They're pretty much going to do the same thing for the White, I feel like, because, once again, you got to look at what he's done too as a player and all that stuff. They might be mad at him now, but they're gonna feel a little bit better about him in recently.
Now, which departure you think was more hurtful? Do you think it was Shaq, Tracy McGrady, or Dwight?
I'm probably gonna go with Shaq, because it looked like that team had a lot of potential with him and Penny Hardaway. They had already made it to the finals, and they were swept by the Houston Rockets, I think, in Shaq's third year and in Penny's second year. And they made it to the conference finals the year after that. And it just seemed like after he left, it pretty much went all downhill for Orlando at that point in time, because then Penny left, Penny got hurt, and then he left. Looking at it from Tracy McGrady, though, you kind of got to look at it like this. They had potential. They thought about having him, because when they had him and they had Grant Hill, they were thinking that they were going to be the next team. I mean, they wanted to try to build up a big three before, 10 years before Miami thought of it, because they tried to lure Tim Duncan to come over there, and Tim stayed loyal to San Antonio. So I really think that it pretty much would be Shaq, then Tracy McGrady, despite all the injuries that happened to Grant Hill, and then I would probably say the White. How about you?
I would go in the same order, because I think the hurtful thing about Shaq's departure was that it was almost done like a piece of the night almost,
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't too much, this was before, 24-hour cable news, this was before social media, this was before, TMZ. So you didn't find out about this Lakers deal really until the newspaper came out, So it was more of a surprise, and it shocked a lot of people, because, at the same time, the Lakers were going through a rebuilding process. They were still trying to get a new identity, they were getting past the Magic era, really, and trying to get a new identity. So it was really shocking, But Tracy McGrady's departure ended a lot of, baseball fans, you know, this was a man that was getting, I think, I believe the press, the executive was getting death threats. You know, Tracy Brady was getting death threats. You know, things got really emotional. With Dwight Howard, here's the thing about it. He gave me 1 more year. You know, this is a guy that felt, I don't want to say pressure. You know, Dwight Howard's a good guy.
Right.
And he didn't want to be LeBron. You know, so this is a guy that gave you 1 more year, you know, out of basically peer pressure and guilt. You know, he didn't want to be a villain. He didn't want to just leave like that. So he gave you 1 more year, and he kind of forced their hands to be like, hey, you know, I'm giving you guys 1 more year to look for a team that I want to go to and ship me to, you know, to work. You know, so he gives them more of I guess, a better chance to rebuild instead of just, you know, kind of getting mad and, you know, just folding his arms up and, you know, either trading me on walking, you know. So he gave him a little bit of a deal, I guess you could say so. You know, and Dwight still has a few fans there. You know, there was, like you said, it wasn't that many boos we were expecting. So, you know, I think with time, yeah, Dwight will be, you know, he'll be seen as a guy that really uplifted the franchise during the tough time. Because that's the Tracy Brady level. A lot of us were kind of like, yeah, we don't know if they can lure a big free agent, you know, maybe draft someone, but we don't know. So.
And yeah, that's pretty much the case too. And you're pretty much, and you're right about this one too, because looking at all the other different superstars where it seemed like where we had so many players that have left or either stayed or left here, it seemed like they forced their hand. I mean, you got LeBron, of course, who basically kept on denying that, saying that he was going to stay. He looked like he was being ambiguous at the time until the decision to go to Miami. Then you got Carmelo, who basically just forced the Nuggets' hand to go to New York. You know, Chris Paul, we remember that fiasco right there. So at least with the White, you can say that they did give them he did give them a little bit of a deal. The real question here, though, is also, and this what really got me thinking here. How come it just seems like the Magic can't keep their superstars, like, for real?
Well, I think with Shaq, you know, he wanted a bigger market. You know, Shaq wanted more of he wanted to take it to the next level. I think he wanted, you know, this was during the beginning, kind of, you know, Shaq was a big deal during that time. You know, this was a guy that was arguably the biggest, the most famous big man in the NBA. You know, you had Elijah Moore still, you had other big men, but he had this phenomenal personality. He was way marketable, you know. You know, he had movies in the pipeline. So I think he did it more for as a branding move, you know, to move to LA. And plus, you know, going to LA is a legacy, you know, the Lakers, you know, you're walking in the footsteps of greatness, you know, Kareem, Wilt, you know, Elgin Baylor, you know, you're part of that legacy now. And we forget how criticized Shaq was during that time period. Like, this was a guy that people said would never win the fifth one. You know, he's not living up to his potential. You know, this is a guy that should be averaging, you know, 20 or 30, 15 every game. You know, Shaq had a lot of harsh critics during that time period. And, you know, I think he did it more so for celebrity purposes than just necessarily, you know, I don't like the way we're going. Because this was a team, like you said, this was a team that had success, you know. This was a team that, you know, was right there with the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference. Team that went to the finals, you know, had a heartbreaking loss against the Houston Rockets. You know, this was a team that had success. He had the talent around him, but I think it was more so like a branding move to move to LA, you know, Hollywood, and play for the Lakers, you know, because Orlando's a beautiful location, you know, you know, Disney World, you know, the weather is lovely. This is Florida still, but as far as markets, you know, LA, you know, it's a bigger market. Tracy was ready, he wanted to win. That's what his situation was. He wanted to win. He wasn't putting necessarily the right pieces around him. The guy right here, like you mentioned earlier, thought that was going to work out and be like a superstar tandem. Due to injuries, it didn't work out. You know, when the best player around you is Drew Gooden, you kind of got some problems. So, he had too many people in his ear. And I think he's a weird guy, kind of. You know, he's not very good at making his own decisions, it seems, you know. So I think he had too many people in his ear. And, you know, he wanted to go to Brooklyn. He wanted this to happen, but then he was reneged, and he didn't want to leave. And he wanted to leave. Then he said he doesn't know. Then he signed that 1-year extension. He's like, wow, you can leave on your own. But then when the season starts, he starts saying he wants to be traded. So much headache. So I think Orlando, I don't think it's necessarily that they can't keep stars. I think it's more so just them getting stars that are, you know, wanting, you know, more, you know, a bigger market or wanting to win right now.
Exactly, and I pretty much have to agree with those situations right there too. And that's going to be actually our question of the day. I'm actually typing it up right now on the Twitter account here. Do you think the Dwight Howard's number will be retired by the Magic as Steph and Jeff Van Gundy suggest? You can chime in either on the lower right corner of the comment box. You can also tweet us at Primetime2832 or Uptown Bobby. And also, you can also say it on Skype as well. But yeah, most definitely, I have to agree with you on that part right there too. On that one, Rob, because I guess 3 different situations right there, and you know, it's just three different situations, 3 different things. And once again, they'll probably get another superstar soon enough, in if not in this year's draft, or probably in the draft coming up, or you know, in the other drafts that's leading up to, if not this year, maybe next year or somewhere like that, you know.
Right, because this is a team. This is a lottery team. You know, I will say that they do have some nice pieces. They do have some keynote wins this season, and they were competitive in that Lakers game. You know, this is a team that, despite their horrible record, because they're going to do a lot of teams. Let's be frank about that. But they've played well at times this year. You know, they beat the Lakers up there early this season. You know, they've had good showings. You know, they just don't have a star, or they just don't have a nucleus right now because they lost their centerpiece to Dwight Howard, and I don't want to necessarily say it was a bad deal, but it was a deal where you thought they could have gotten more for such a high-profile name, but hey, that happens. But they're rebuilding, and that's all that matters. And like you said, they'll be able to draft somebody soon with a high pick. I mean, look at some of these keynote draft picks from a couple of years. For the past few years with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Just guys that will come in instantly and it made impact on these franchises. So I think with time they'll be back. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, and that's all we can really pretty much hope for in this case too. Also, coming up into some more of the action here that happened last night, it seems like the Lakers they're right now at the 8th seed. They're getting a little bit of heat right now. Utah is just a half game behind at 33-31. The Dallas Mavericks, who won against the Bucks, are 30-33, and they're just 3 games back. And Portland suffered a bad loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 29-34, but yet they are 4 games behind. It really looks like, though, the Lakers, they can either move up, they can move up because they're just only a half game behind Houston and 2 games behind Golden State. So anything is still possible right now with about 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks left in the season. Like we've always said in the last couple of shows here, anything can happen, and I feel like that it's going to be a very good race coming down to it.
Oh yeah, this is by far, I think, the most exciting race for the 8th seed or the last 3 seeds we've had in the last couple of years, because here we have the high-profile Lakers, just clawing their way for a playoff spot. So that's automatically going to get headlines, especially with the way Kobe Bryant has been playing as of late.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the Rockets team that's just exciting to watch with their new superstars. And we got to give props to the manager one thing. I mean, it's a team that dealt so many pieces. They retooled, had so many heartbreaking moments with Yao Ming retiring. Tracy McGrady never really just flourishing trying to get Dwight Howard. That didn't work out. So he went back to the, drawing board, got Jeremy Lin, drafted those three guys, traded Lamb, got James Harden. Now look at him. This is just a really great organization right now, and they're making a push for, the playoffs. And, they could move this 6 seed. You never know. So, it's really exciting, to see new faces, on this Houston team and on that Golden State team as well. Almost like a changing of the guard. So, to see the Lakers trying to, fight back, you got Kobe, one of the longest tenure players in the league right now doing this. And you got the young guys like Harden and, Parsons on the Houston and, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry on Golden State. It's exciting to watch. What do you think, Lamar?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And like I said, I got a chance to see this Houston team a couple of different times here, and they've really been impressive trying to win these games and stuff like that. I know recently they had a loss to the Suns, but they get them this Wednesday, and I think they got a very nice homestand, which I think they're playing like 7 games in a row at home. I'm looking at it right now, but and going to Golden State here, they've really played they've been playing inspired ball lately here. They held the Knicks down to 63 points. And, you never, when you think about Golden State, you never think about them being that much of a defensive team in the past, because once you think about Golden State, you're always thinking about high-powered offense, especially from that 2017, and especially from the years that they had Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and also Chris Mullin. So, to see them actually do a nice job on defense, and that's just amazing right there. And looking at the Houston Rockets schedule right now, it looks like here they do have a 7-game homestand, so they get a pretty good chance to actually try to make themselves even better in the playoff push right now.
Utah, Portland, Houston will make a little noise, and the Suns will be rolling. But now, with the Lakers in it, this is the most attention at the bottom of the playoffs has had in a while. This much attention. And honestly, for matchup purposes, I think the Lakers. I'm not going to say pain games because every game counts. But if I'm the Lakers right now, I want the 8th seed because the Spurs, I think, are a better matchup than OKC and the Clippers.
Right.
Because the Spurs play, a half-court offense. They can run as well, but they typically play a half-court offense. They play more of a slow game, and this Laker team is in that, department. And, you never know what can happen. The Spurs are a team where we've seen them. Now, I don't want to say struggle in the playoffs because they went to the Western Conference Finals last year. But this is a team that, when the playoffs come, they win games sometimes. They can win a series, but they haven't gotten to the finals or gotten over that hump.
Right.
Since 2007. So, if I'm the Lakers, I want to see the Spurs first round because you never know what can happen. Tony Parker's still out with that ankle. They have depth, but, at the same time, you just don't know. With Kobe, playing the way he is, Dwight Howard coming on, this is a team that could, if they got the Spurs, at least make it a series. Because I think with Oklahoma City and the Clippers, they're not as leg enough to compete with them. But with the Spurs, I see the Lakers have more of a shot. What do you think about that, Lamar?
Oh, same here. I would think it's either going to be the Spurs. They would rather have to see the Spurs because, there's a few more older players on the team. Even though they got some infusion of youth, their 3 top players are much older here than OKC's. So especially because we seen what happened last year when the Lakers played against Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City basically ran them out of the building. So I would rather see the Spurs in that case, or I would rather play the Clippers in the hopes of you're playing all your games in the Staples Center, and you know that there's probably still going to be some Laker fans that's still going to make it there, even though it is the Clippers' home court too. So
Right. Yeah, every game is a home game. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, that's a good theory as well. You know, you don't want to really have to do too much traveling. You know, you're right there at home. You know, you still got your diehard Laker fans that are going to show up to the game. Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So that's a good theory as well. But I just think on paper, you know, the Spurs matchup will be more in the Lakers' favor, like you said, because of the older players they have, and the fact that, you know, the Spurs typically play a slower game. But they can run now, but they typically prefer, you know, to slow it down and, you know, pick you in and out, you know. So, yeah, man, it's pretty interesting right now. I have to say that if Golden State continues to go up and down with the way they've been doing it, the Lakers could sneak into that 6 spot.
Exactly, man, and exactly. And last but not least, for about the NBA wrap here, did you see that dunk by DeAndre Jordan last? I think it was Sunday.
Brandon Knight has got to be having one of the worst years ever. This is a guy who, you know, got crossed over, embarrassed by Kyrie Irving on that, you know, Rising Stars game. He's been dunked on earlier this year. And then to get a DeAndre Jordan, it's been a rough year for Brandon Knight.
Oh, man.
I think he wishes he still was in Kentucky. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, I gotta agree. A lot of looking at Twitter, the time of the dunk, people were just thinking that he had basically died after that dunk, and that was just bad. I mean, like, why would you're a guard. Why are you jumping in order to try to contest a center's dunk? I mean, really.
Right. And I think DeAndre Jordan, that Tony Bradley, they just stopped trending on Twitter. Like, this was something people were talking about for a while. So, yeah, Brandon Knight, this is a guy who, you know, a lot of people had as big, high-profile player now coming out of Kentucky. You know, he was one of the first point guards taken in that 2010 draft, I believe, 2010 or 11 draft.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people had, you know, high hopes for him, but he's still trying to find his niche in that Detroit system, and, you know, he's still out his game, and now he's the laughing stock of the NBA. So, it's pretty humbling, you know.
And I got something even worse for you on this one, Rob. There's Under Armour selling T-shirts right now of DeAndre Jordan saying, "Show me your dunk face," of his expression that he had after that dunk.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Brandon's famous for all the wrong reasons now.
Oh, exactly, man. But, you know, you just got to hope that he could just live this down. I mean, I wouldn't want to be dunked like that, and shoot, that's basically all that you can just see whenever you have the Clippers playing. I mean, you got all these high-flying dunks and stuff. So, yep, definitely, that's it. Well, we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a 30-second break on this show. We will be right back, and we're going to be talking about the NFL free agency, who's going where. And, you know, we got a lot of things here where we're going to, you know, give us your thoughts about on this one. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. We will be back in 30. 8-8, I think.
They had a lot of keynote victories in a lot of games. That's a big move. Especially if Tannehill stays healthy. Right. I like them as a dark horse now.
And we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show. We're having a little conversation in between the segments. But we're now going to talk about the NFL free agency market, and basically what we were just talking about was Mike Wallace breaking the bank here, getting 5 years, $65 million, so to say, and $30 million of that is guaranteed. What do you think of that move for Miami?
relationship because he was a team last year that was one of the most surprising teams in terms of competitors. Like, this was a team that was very competitive last year. No one saw them, being this competitive. They had a lot of keynote wins. They played hard. Reggie Bush had a stellar season before getting hurt. This is a guy who, he's showing you now that he's committed to being an every down running back.
Mm-hmm.
They have a few, key receivers. This team that last year, watching Hard Knocks, we thought they had no receivers. That was one of the biggest flaws. And throughout the season, they had a lot of guys come on and emerge. So signing Mike Wallace is definitely a blessing. Ryan Tannehill, a guy that, a lot of people said wasn't worth the first round pick, showed you last year that he's just as good as some of these other rookies. This is definitely a big move that needs to be made. Right now, the Miami Dolphins are my dark horses in this upcoming season because I like them. They're a scrappy bunch, and you look at the division. Who else is going to compare other than New England? The Jets are, you can say, they're rebuilding. Buffalo was always up and down. Ryan Fitzpatrick, one day he's good, the other day he's average, the other day he's bad. So I think this is the time for Miami to step up and make a statement. And, they can compete for the wild card, or sometimes, with the way that division is and the way New England is, maybe they can compete for the division. Who knows? So I like that move. What are some other headlines they talked about a little more?
Well, I really like going back to this move, and funny that you do say about Reggie Bush because we're going to talk about him a little bit later about in this segment here. I really like this move too because it really helps out that whole. They got a very young receiving core, like you said about Brian Hartline. Levon Best is a pretty good player, and now you add Mike Wallace to the fray. This is going to be pretty much a lethal move here. Miami has really tried to position themselves into a pretty good situation. I mean, you look at them last year; they were only 7-9, but it might have been shocking here that they were 7-9. But then again, like you said, they had a couple of keynote victories. They did a very nice job, and Ryan Tannehill had a pretty good season, throwing for about over 3,000 yards. So you give him another weapon. You give him the opportunity to try to make plays. Give it to somebody just like Mike Wallace, who we know is a deep threat. This Miami Dolphins team can probably go somewhere this season. I mean, next season to say the least. Do I think he was worth that money? Maybe not, but at least they got their guy and that they really wanted it and all that stuff. But my question would be this too, with somebody else out there in the free agent market. What does Mike Wallace's contract say to players like Greg Jennings or maybe Wes Welker?
Greg Jennings is going to get paid. I got a feeling that Minnesota is going to make that move now after dealing with Percy Harvin. I think Greg Jennings is in the sights, and I think they're going to make a move that that's going to put him in that top 5 category of highest paid receivers. About Wes Welker, I'm not sure. This is a guy who's a part of his system to me. I'm not sure he's going to get big time money like that. Just because, like I said, I think he's more of a part of the Patriot system. I'm not sure who would deal him money. I'm not even sure who's interested in Wes Welker. I can see him making the Eagles trying to, put the deal together, but I don't think they have the cap room necessarily. So we'll see. But I think a guy like Steven Jackson might be seeing a big deal as well. Maybe Victor Cruz. Look, I think Victor Cruz he's been franchise tag, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he got a tender. I think he got a tender.
Right. So yeah, things like that are heating up. But one of the biggest acquisitions so far to me would be Anquan Bolden going to the 49ers for a 6th rounder. Well, wow. I mean, was that a birthday gift his brother, a consolation prize for losing the Super Bowl.
Oh man,
That's crazy.
that was shocking right there, and it just continues to tell me here that the rich is pretty much getting richer because, my goodness, if you did not think that the Niners can get even better now with all these draft picks that they have, they get themselves a pretty reliable target in Anquan Bolden, which was something that they really needed in receiving over the last couple of years. So it depends on, I think he's going to stay, and I think he's going to, even though he said he was hurt about that trade. I think he'll realize here that, this is a pretty good team that has the opportunity to win now. So
he's going to get over that overnight.
Oh, yes.
The guy who just won a Super Bowl ring, and you're right now potentially win another one. So that alone is going to help smooth that transition because look around you. You got Vernon Davis,
right,
the best tight end in the NFL. You got Michael Crabtree, a guy who was finally, living up to his potential, when he was coming out of Texas Tech. You got Mario Manningham, a guy that made one of the biggest, Super Bowl catches not too long ago. And if he's healthy, that's going to be dangerous. Frank Gore in the backfield, Michael Finley, Kaepernick, this is a team that's just loaded offensively.
Right.
And you look around and then that defense, that tremendous defense they have, he's going to get over there overnight. Just the idea that, hey, I can win another title, multiple titles possibly, we just get together and, gel. So he's going to get over there and he's going to do well there. He's going to blossom. Now, also, a thing that, making headlines with the Seattle Seahawks and getting Percy Harvin. What do you think about that deal?
Oh man, that is going to be a very nice move right there for them because now you get a pretty good receiver, and you also get which you can use in so many different ways. And we've seen last year that Pete Carroll was a little bit innovative here. And this is really going to help out Russell Wilson. And I feel like right now, the Seattle Seahawks are basically playing chess with the 49ers here. I mean, they're trying to match them from move and all that stuff. And, it looks like that NFC West has gotten a whole lot better than probably 3 years ago where we saw a 7-9 team make it to the playoffs. This year, it's going to be, I think this is pretty much where the action is going to be at. And the 49er Seahawks game is going to be, those are probably going to be the very watchable games, too.
Right. I think the tagline for the NFC West should be "There will be blood," because this is going to be a messy, bloody fight to whoever wins that division. Because, the 49ers, who, they still got with the division with the Seahawks getting high towards the end. Then you got the St. Louis Rams, a team that San Fran tied with, and also, they were competitive in that last game. This is a new era for this conference. And then also, the Cardinals, granted they still don't have that big time quarterback yet. There are rumors about them going after Geno Smith in the draft. But this is that's competitive as well. They had that 4-0 start last year, and they had that defense to keep them in contention. So this is going to be a very competitive year in that division. And also, there are a lot of, storylines. Jeff Fisher and Sam Bradford, their relationship, they could go after a guy like Greg Kennedy. They're probably going to lose Steven Jackson, but, all the draft picks they have, who knows, maybe get Eddie Lacy. Things are looking up to them. So, this is definitely a competitive division now. It's going to be, like you said, a game of chess between the 49ers and Seahawks going on. And maybe those two teams can meet in the NFC title game. It almost happened last year. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And I got a good feeling that all this is going to be it's going to be a nice season coming up to this. And we also have another move here that just happened today with Reggie Bush going to the Detroit Lions. And so the Lions, they've been making a few moves today with getting, I think, Chris Houston, keeping him, and also getting Glover Quinn, and they're also trying to do something too. So you got that right there. But as far as the losers in this free agent thing, in this free agent period, I know it's been 2 days, but it really looks like the Baltimore Ravens have been the losers of this whole thing.
Right. Another thing I wanted to mention to you, Lamar, was, what about your Cowboys? Because we're not seeing many moves being made. And, when you look at some of these moves being made around the league, you're like, hey, Dallas isn't getting involved in this. Well, so I want to counter question you right now. What are some of your thoughts about the Cowboys and the free agency?
Right. I would love for them to try to make a move somehow. I said this about Jerry Jones. I really wanted him to try to make a move, see what he can probably get. Doesn't have to be necessarily a big-time name, but get somebody that can help you out. Definitely with the receiving position. Randy Moss has been one of the players that I've been pining for the Cowboys for a pretty long time. I think the situation right now is the Cowboys are kind of strapped for money right now, and I think that's probably why they've stayed back. But I hope they don't let the free agency, the whole free agency thing, pass them by without having to make a move, because it's going to be pretty much the same thing if they don't do that. An 8-8 season, getting your hopes up all the way into the last game of the season, and then see your heart ripped out.
Right. Yeah, so, also, it's almost like the 49ers move and a couple other moves almost took the spotlight over the draft. We're not seeing really talk about the draft again. Do you still have the same prediction that you have for who's coming out number one?
As far as the NFL draft?
Yeah.
That's going to be a good question right now, because I'm looking at so many things here that many people are talking about that the offensive tackle could get drafted as number one right now, not instead of a quarterback. It's probably going to be some guy from Texas A&M, I think Luke Jockle or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, with the offensive tackle, they think it was on line. I think the offensive line was going to be number one, offensive defensive line. I think some of the bigger names that we do know, the household names, a lot of those guys are going to come later in the draft. I think Eddie Lacy might be the first big name that might come off the board. There's a lot of people want to take him. Then the other guys like Matt Barkley and Teo, guys like that, they might even fall to the second round. Some people are predicting.
Right, and that would be pretty interesting to say the least here, because maybe by then, like we said about Manti Te'o here, and especially with Matt Barkley here, maybe this would be kind of like a heaven sent thing here, because the expectations would be a little bit lower than anything. But it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I hear some people that's still probably thinking about putting Te'o right now at in the first round. But still, he could slip him down to that second round thing, the second round of the draft too. So this would be pretty interesting as well.
Right, definitely going to be exciting. Like you said, a lot of teams are loaded with draft picks. The 49ers and the Seahawks both have a high number of picks. So like you said, that chess match is definitely going to continue on all the way to the NFL draft. So we'll see. We still got a lot of time left.
Exactly. So, and like we said, and I forgot to get your thoughts about Reggie Bush going to the Detroit Lions. What do you think about that, and also the Ravens?
Wow, that's crazy. Didn't hear much of that news until now. He just mentioned it actually. That's going to be a good look. It's going to be a good look definitely for the Lions, because if we see them struggle to get a So,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely going to be a good look. Oh, man, when did that deal happen?
Actually, that happened today. I saw it on Twitter where he got, I think it's 4 years. 4 years. Looking at it right now. Looking at it right now. Let's see here. SB Nation said that him and the Lions have agreed to a 4 year deal. So that's going to be interesting too.
Wow. So Reggie Bush is in Detroit now.
Yep.
That is crazy. That definitely helps them, though. I have to see that being a plus. The one thing about Reggie Bush, though, is his durability. That's always been a big question since his NFL career has started. We see him get hurt often. So, hopefully he can stay healthy and continue to, give them, a run that they desperately need, to take some of the room off of Megatron's back and open up the play call. And so, yeah, what do you think about that move, Lamar?
Oh man, this is going to be exciting because really one of the things here with what the Lions did have was they had a trouble with running the football, and that they was trying to look for at least a dynamic back to help them out, and now you get that dynamic back to help out. And I think I remember that they had pretty much with Reggie Bush right here. He could be like what they thought Job at Best was going to be, but sadly he couldn't stay on the field because of his concussion issues. But now with Reggie Bush, you get a player that can do a whole lot of stuff. I mean, you can have him, like you said, he's developed into an every down running back. We all know that he can still catch the ball very well. And if need be, you can put him back there as a kick returner or maybe even as a punt returner. And, he can try to help out and for that too. So, great move for Detroit. Great move for Detroit on that one.
Right, yeah, it's definitely something that's going to be NFC North even more close division. That's going to be another close division as well, the NFC North. Last year we saw it being competitive. They sent two teams to the playoffs. So, we're going to see how that continues. Green Bay, I've heard rumblings of them, trying to put their hand in Steven Jackson race. You have the Vikings who are, trying to, from what I hear, get Greg Jennings. Chicago has a new era coming with their new head coach. So it's going to be interesting to see how, a lot of these storylines develop, especially with Reggie Bush going to Detroit now. So that's definitely going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. So we're going to go ahead, take ourselves another 30-second break, and we'll be coming back with probably some more news about the Big East. It looks like they're going to lose another team. And it looks like really it's crumbling right now for them. It's not looking good for that conference. So we'll be right back to talk a little bit about that. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. We'll be right back.
That's usually where it's kind of the Big East.
Right.
One of the best tournaments in basketball.
Well, we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show, and we're going to talk about right now the Big East losing another member. Notre Dame, I read here, they are going to be on their way out. Now, we already knew that they were going to be out by 2014, as they were going to go to the ACC for all sports except for football, obviously. But now it's going to be in 2013 where they're going to go to the ACC. Your thoughts about that one? And it just seems like a lot of stuff is happening here with the Big East that, it's not your father's Big East anymore.
The exodus continues. Notre Dame is big in the ACC. It is really different. And I think they're going to have a harder time than the other because you look at the ACC right now. We have Duke and Miami right now pretty much being the elite. And, North Carolina, they're going to be back in it next year.
Mm-hmm. North
Carolina State, they're established between Wake Forest and wins. Even Virginia has a win over Miami. Because, it's a competitive conference, and Notre Dame will, come to the ACC. They're going to play little brother for a little while, but it's a good move for the ACC. High profile, name like Notre Dame in that division, in that conference. But it's sad to see them leave the Big East because like we're really used to them. It's just another sign that the Big East right in front of us is becoming, really just a name, just what's going on.
And yeah, it is really sad right then and there because my goodness, it continues to seem like here that the Big East that we know it is pretty much dead. I mean, the purge is continuing here, and right now Notre Dame is going to be part of that team. I mean, they're going to join Pitt, and they're also going to join Syracuse, and I think Louisville's also going to be there sometime soon too. So it's going to be a lot tougher. At least the adjustment period might help them out, but dang, man, the Big East is pretty much dead. I mean, first you got the Catholic 7 News, and they're going to take over that Big East name. Now the Big East is going to be called something else here, so I don't know what they're going to be calling it right now. The first thing I would just have to say here, I would really hope that UConn leaves. Like, they gotta leave. They have to leave in this. Don't you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think UConn has to go because, everyone else is leaving. You don't want to just be there. It's a new era, with Jim Calhoun being gone, and, why not go? You have to go. Just you have to, start anew. And, this is UConn. They're always going to be, a topic of conversation. They're always going to be there, especially the girl team. So, yeah, they got to go. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's definitely because I cannot see them, and I know it's going to hurt them maybe from a football standpoint, but you also got to look at it from the basketball standpoint though too. You're going to be in a conference with Cincinnati, Louisville. I mean, no, not okay. Wait, Cincinnati, South Florida, who's going to be staying there. And then you're also going to bring in Memphis, Houston, SMU, UCF, Tulane, East Carolina, and Navy for football purposes. And those last two are for football purposes. Really, you want to be in a position where you're playing against the best of the best of the best. And I can't really see them, staying in that. If they stay in that conference, it's really going to hurt them a whole lot more. So they got to make the trip. They got to make the trip down. They got to try to get to the ACC or the Big Ten or somewhere like that, I think.
Right. And, UConn, I love UConn. I think I'd go ahead and go to the ACC just because that seems to be where Florida is going to be. With that, they rank a big name. Like, this is UConn, this is a team that has a legacy behind them. They have, I think that was here when UConn produced some of the best shooters, in the game. Ray Allen, Rick Hamilton, even, Rudy Gay emerging, even some of the younger talent like Kemba Walker and Aaron Wells, UConn's a brand name,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of bring some luster, to wherever they go. So right now, I think they're a high profile team that a lot of conferences are trying to probably down.
Right. Because they definitely have to do that. They definitely have to do that. I mean, the only team that they really have in competition with each other is probably going to be Memphis. And right now, it just looks like the Big East. Well, the one that's basically right there because it's even so tough to really even get a chance to think about it here. The Big East is looking like a glorified Conference USA, to be honest with you.
Wow, yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah, that's a great comparison because when you have just a couple of names, I mean, there's no real. I mean, you hate to say this, but there's no real star power anymore. There's no you don't think of Final Four appearances in there that much now.
Mm-mm. Nah, not most definitely. You just don't. So also looking, but also trying to shift the focus here a little bit too. Let's got the Big East tournament is going on right now, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be our next question. Well, for our question of the day, I think on Friday. But looking at all these different tournaments, which one do you think is probably the best one of all?
Oh, man. I would never say right now, with the way, see, the Big Ten is kind of tricky because I think, is Indiana won the Big Ten outright because of their record, or they having a tournament, or?
They won it outright, but they're still having the tournament.
Right. Also, I would say the Big Ten just because of their power this year. You have Indiana, you have Michigan, you have Michigan State, you have Wisconsin, and Minnesota. So I think right now that's more so of the high hope I want to see right now. Of course we're ACC guys. We want to see our kid in blood. I mean, you give certain teams a puncher's chance, but right now Miami and Duke, they're the favorites, clear cut.
Right.
But I think there's going to be a little more parity in the Big Ten just because a lot of these teams are beating each other.
Right. And I think that's going to be one of the tournaments I really, really love to see. And this year, from this year's standpoint, I feel like I'm still going to be watching the Big East. I'm going to see, how does this last hurrah actually do for all these teams that we've been accustomed to see playing in the Garden, the Magic always happening. I mean, what's going to happen next? I mean, that's always going to be one of those things. It's like a magical thing here where, something always happens. So, I think I'm going to watch that one. Of course, I'm still going to watch the Big Ten. Probably maybe the ACC too, and I think that's probably going to be it because some of the other ones I'm kind of not leaning towards on that one.
Right, yeah, that is what's invested into some of those other tournaments. Yeah, I agree. The Big Ten and, of course you want to see the Big East because, the Big East tournament, like we talked about, I think, the last show, we're always usually one of the most exciting tournaments in it. I mean, because, Madison Square Garden, the bigger names, just the magic that it has, it's going to make you want to watch it. And, like you say, given now, there's more interest in it because, like you said, this is the last hurrah team. And, the ACC tournament, we're ACC guys, so of course our team is going to be there. And the Big Ten, they have pretty much, some of the better storylines and bigger teams this year, so yeah, those are definitely the tournaments on my watch list and yours as well because, of the investments we have now. The Big 12 tournament might be a little interesting, might have some parity in it because, we've seen TCU upset Kansas, we've seen, upsets happen, so, who knows what happened there.
True, and because anything could really happen, and we know Kansas has dominated that division, but they haven't looked strong this year, and so anything could happen right there. And then also looking at it too, the SEC is going to be another big one to really watch for because we're going to really see what Kentucky's made out of. If they have a pretty good run in the SEC tournament, I say they make the big dance. But if they get knocked out in their first game, that's going to be detrimental to their chances here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt them. It's definitely going to put up another, press conference by Coach Self. Last when they lost, when he called them the worst team in with basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch. March Madness is definitely, one of my favorite times of the year. Definitely a time when brackets are broken down. I think we should make it interesting this year. We should get our fans involved in a bracket challenge.
Oh, definitely, and that's going to be a good idea here. That's a good idea. We need to try to do something like that.
Right. So hopefully next Friday. Hopefully this upcoming Friday we'll be able to give you guys more details about possible bracket challenge we can put together and see if we can get the winner something and some bragging rights, you know, something like this. We'll keep you guys posted.
Mm-hmm. Men and women? Women's too?
What is that?
The women's too? Or just the men's?
What is that, Lord?
I say the women's bracket too, or just the men's?
We'll do both. You know, we're sports guys. You know, we watch both. You know, yeah, we do both.
That's a good idea. Cause and speaking of the women's basketball too, cause I got a chance to see I think the Notre Dame UConn game, at least the tail end of it too, and Notre Dame won that game in thrilling fashion with Skylar Diggins here. And once again, I just continue to look at her, and I think I see her, Brittany Griner and Elena Deladon of Delaware. I think those three players are going to be pretty nice as far as the WNBA is concerned too.
Yeah, and that's the thing I love more so about women's college basketball is that these stars that come, you know, during their college. I guess that's another thing that you say women's basketball has on men's, that they're able to make stars. Our time period growing up, you know, there was Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. We even could go back to Candace Parker, Elena Beard. They're better at building stars. The sisters from Oklahoma not too long ago, Maya Moore, the women's college system is able to build stars because these girls, they're there all 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
There's no one and done in women's college basketball. So that's very beneficial to them and their system.
Mm-hmm.
It's also beneficial to the viewers as well because you get to know these players, you get to experience, their trials and tribulations, just like I remember Stanford upsetting UConn that year, and it was like you could feel like that hurt, you grow with these girls when you watch them play against still fully like that Maya Moore team, the team that was basically perfect,
Mm-hmm.
you got to grow with them and watch them, or Candace Parker, and you just get to build these names, build these brands. Now, granted, when they get to WNBA, it's not the same as far as attention, but you have an interest to see how they develop over there as well. So that's something that helps them too. But it's definitely something that I would say women's basketball has over the men's game. In terms of building people and building people you care about.
And that too. I mean, because I know a lot of people some people really knock women's basketball as well, they don't dunk and they're too fundamental and all. But I, for one, really enjoy it because when I was at ULM, I covered women's basketball because I knew one of the coaches there, and it just seemed like no matter win or lose here, they had themselves a very nice. They always you can feel their pain. You've seen the players here of how they played against and all that stuff. And shout out to ULM too because they didn't win in the Sun Belt tournament, but they gave Middle Tennessee all that they can handle in that game. And those that know about Middle Tennessee is a very good team in that conference, and also they're actually pretty good, just as good as probably some of the other teams in the NCAA. So you get a chance to see them, and I know you get a chance to see them, and I know that this draft is going to be a pretty nice draft too. So that's going to be one thing as well.
Yeah, it's something I never watched in its entirety, but maybe this year will be different,
Yeah, same here, definitely. As far as the show here, basically wrapping up with some of this other sports here and stuff. Looks like here the Cardinals get Rashard Mendenhall.
If Mendenhall's health improves and he's able to, have a healthy season, that's a great deal. This guy that runs hard, runs 20 tackles, in that system he's going to flourish because, if they can get a quarterback, he's going to have a light workload, compared to when he was in Pittsburgh and, during Pittsburgh time, when he was there, it was more, pound to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I like that move.
Oh man, and then here's another news here that might get your hope. I mean, that might make you happy, Rob, too. Here's a report that's saying that Wes Welker from Yahoo Sports, this blog here, they said that Wes Welker is ready to move on from the Patriots. He's kind of insulted by their low ball offer, and they're saying that he could sign with the Broncos.
That is scary. I just mentioned how Wes Welker, I think he's a part of the New England system, but man, you put him in Denver's system with what Peyton Manning did last year with those guys that he just met. What is he going to do with Wes Welker? Like, I mean, this is going to be crazy if he's able to go to Denver, because you'll get Demetrius Thomas and Eric Decker. These guys are, kind of average seasons with Tim Tebow, and their production spiked tremendously with Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
And with a guy like Wes Welker on this now, I'm kind of concerned about Brandon Stokely. I don't know if that means he's going to have a smaller role, but that's definitely going to have some. I mean, it's going to help their short game as well. That's scary. If I'm in New England right now, I would be a little bit scared of it, because this is a team that should have met you in the AFC title game,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. That move they will be pulled off.
Definitely. And let's see, Deshaun Golston is actually getting 5 years, $41.25 million, and $22 million guaranteed from the Buccaneers, and that's going to be interesting too.
Yeah.
So man, it looks like we're getting all this news here just as we were about to go off.
Yeah, and free agency was officially started with yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. A lot of moves being made. A lot of teams are putting themselves in a position to win. I mean, this is very competitive right now. Like, we saw the 49ers, the Seahawks both make big moves. We saw Miami make a big sign, but see other teams pick up the pace.
Right.
Yeah, it's happening. A lot of teams want to win now.
And last but not least, too, and non-sports news here too. We just got a little breaking news here from you too. Looks like we got a new pope as well.
Oh, finally.
The person is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, I think. That's his name. He's an Argentinian priest, I think, and he's now going to be the new pope. So finally, we got ourselves a new pope, pretty much just as we got all.
75, 80.
I think that's what he is. Yes. I think that's what he is.
I'm glad that's over with. Glad we got a new pope, and hopefully he blesses, something. I don't know.
Likewise too. I just felt like sharing that news right then and there since it was on live and all that. So.
Oh yeah. Well, breaking news. We breaking news, and we're not just sports people.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. So we're basically going to wrap things up right here with our 17th episode right now. We're moving on to 20. We're moving on even past 20 and all that. So we will be right back. I think Friday. Am I right?
Yeah, Friday.
Friday, same time, 1 o'clock.
We'll see about the time. Maybe one, maybe two. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll definitely keep you updated on that one as well. But this concludes this episode right here. I'm Lamar Gafford.
I'm Robert Brown.
And once again, we will be right back Friday, and we'll be right back and ready to go. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. And thank you very much to our fans.